And now, another episode of the Game Changers podcast with Sydney and Luke Hurst.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Game Changers podcast. We have the two of us here, and we have a very special guest today. Unfortunately, Luke has to go to class a little bit later, so he won't be able to be a part of it. But you get to listen to it when we post it because very, very special guest. But the Blue Jays are getting some really good talent. They just signed Max Scherzer. And
He's
they
a
took
little old, but
Santander
yeah,
away from us.
he's got a couple. He's probably got a year and a half left in him.
Mm-hmm. And they took Santander from those.
Yes, they did. I'm not happy about that one because they took a guy who everybody thought was going to ask for over $100 million plus, like over 150, and they only got him for 90. And the Orioles decided not to sign him, which they do what they want to do, but that's just not what I thought they should have done.
I know.
But then they signed Scherzer to a 1-year deal, which I thought was pretty impressive. I didn't think he had a shot at going there. I didn't think they were going to give him the money for a 40-plus-year-old guy, but they did. So good for them. So yeah, I think they'll be good. I just don't know how good they're going to be because they still have to worry about Vlad Jr., who I don't think he's going to stay there much longer. And no offense to Bo Bichette, but he's not hitting the best last couple of years or playing the best. So they have some holes to fill, but they're trying. They're trying. They'll be decent. I think they'll be like third in the division. I don't think they'll be last.
Yeah, I'm excited for. I've been counting down the days. We've got 8 days until Gamecock baseball starts. On a different note, the being that it is gymnastics season, a little bit of a hint. I wanted to talk a little bit and get your opinion, Luke, being that you have grown up kind of in the gymnastics world as well as I have. There's some controversy over the amount of 10-0s that are being given. What are your thoughts on that?
As I haven't watched a lot of gymnastics this year so far, but that being said, the ones that I have watched, I think there should be more. I've only seen 110, and it was Jordan Childs on floor, and that was last week. And I think that there's been the ability for more. There's been some routines that I thought should have been 10s, but I mean, these judges know more than I do, so they probably have seen something that I haven't. But there have been a bunch of 995s and 9975s, so that leads me to believe that one judge is giving a 10 and the other one isn't. So I just don't understand what one judge sees the other one doesn't, and I just think these fans are there to see some 10s, and when you're giving none, it kind of, I guess, puts a damper in it a little bit. But
I guess
I don't want to say it like I want to say it ruins it, but I do think there should be some more 10s being given out.
I think there were too many given out last year.
Yes, I do agree. And
So I think what they're
they
doing
could
now
be
is they're
talking. They could be doing less. I do understand that.
Well, they're trying to make the gymnasts earn it. You know, they're trying to decipher between good gymnastics and great gymnastics.
Yes, I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I think there will be more 10-0s come kind of now on, and I think fans want to see good gymnastics. I think they want to see people fight for those 10s. So I think there's benefits, and I think that there's drawbacks, but I don't think 10s are gone. I think they just I mean they just are few and far between now, which is good. They just need to earn them. You know, I think they were too popular to begin with.
Yeah.
You just
But I do think that there's not enough. But
you think that there needs to be like a middle ground.
yes, Yeah, I think they went to one extreme last year and they're at the other this year
Maybe next year they'll have a middle ground.
because there have been some stuck landings that have been good. Like there's nothing wrong with the vault, there's nothing wrong with the routine, and it's just like they found 2/10 deduction or a tenth and a half, and I'm just like, where do you see that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree. I could be biased, but I thought Paige's vault was borderline 10-0.
Yes, I agree. She did get a 9.9.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a 10th deduction in there, but again, I'm not a
Again, when
judge.
she gets it, it's going to be that much better, like,
She will,
hmm
she will, but
I think I think the competition um, you go up against a team like LSU and UCLA who have a lot of 10-0s and Florida that have a lot of 10-0s.
hmm
And, I know no teams go into it thinking it's going to be a wash, but now when you know that the team that you're going against is fighting for the tens just as much as you are, I think that it makes the competition that much kind of more exciting. So I mean, I like it. I definitely agree with your point. I think that there have been a lot of times where I found myself yelling at the TV, which I usually don't do. Like usually that's like a football thing, right? Or a baseball thing. I've never really yelled at the TV watching gymnastics, but I do find myself doing that this year. But without further ado, let's bring on our guest, and Luke will join us towards the end. All right, guys, we have a very special guest today. A USA Gymnastics national team member and current sophomore at the Louisiana State University on the gymnastics team, Konnor McClain. Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be on here.
Yes, we're so happy to have you. Konnor and I have a personal relationship. I've known her through some mutual friends in gymnastics, but haven't gotten to talk to her for a while. So I'm very excited for you guys to get to know her as well. So, Konnor, where are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you.
I am in Louisiana right now in school. I am from Las Vegas, but I've lived basically all over the United States. I'm a sophomore, just like you said, and it's basically like the intro. Like I started gymnastics when I was 1. There's not much to me. Like gymnastics been my whole life, and then I came to college, and I'm still doing it and still pushing through. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So wow, you have really just grown up in gymnastics. Starting at 1 years old is crazy. Were your parents gymnasts or athletes at all?
They were not. My mom was a gymnastics coach, and then my sister, who's 3 years older than me, did gymnastics, and so I kind of followed in her footsteps.
Cool. Does she do gymnastics at a university as well?
No, she actually played softball in college. She quit when she was like 13 and decided to do a different sport. So,
Good for her. That's awesome. So you're from Las Vegas, but you've lived all over. Was that because of like parents moving around, or was that because of gymnastics or
just because
something
of
else?
gymnastics. Yeah, all because of gymnastics.
Do you have a favorite place that you have been to because Las Vegas is pretty cool, but
Right.
not a whole lot of opportunities for gymnastics over there.
hmm
Um, so did you find that like the East Coast, like what was your favorite place, I guess, gymnastically and not gymnastically?
Okay, not gymnastically, Vegas, 110%. And then I would probably say Dallas was my favorite gymnastically.
Very nice. My brother and I, we went to Las Vegas for our 21st birthday. That
Mm,
was awesome. When you turn 21, you're like, I'm going back. I'm going
yeah,
back and actually enjoying it um, from a adult perspective.
no, that's
That's so fun. Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. It was a good time. There's not much to do during the day, not gonna lie.
right.
But it was fun. It was really fun,
hmm
like, having all of that. So being that you kind of went all over the place, walk us through a little bit of the difference between elite and JO gymnastics. Obviously, you were part of the national team, so you did go the elite track, and and now you're in collegiate athletics, which is very different.
Hmm.
For those that kind of don't understand, can you walk us through the differences as well as kind of your path? Did you want to go, JO, or did you always want to was your goal the Olympics? Was that kind of your goal?
Yeah, my goal was always the Olympics since I was like 7 years old. And so I started elite when I was 6 or 7. And so it was always elite for me. And I didn't really know like the other, like JO gymnastics for real, and like my teammates. Like I just like watched them do it. But elite is definitely like a struggle compared to college and JO because you're in the gym twice as long. Like you're in the gym for 8 hours, 6 days a week, and you're just like pounding and pounding and pounding on your body, and like mentally like it's so hard. And so it's so much different than college because you come to college and you have so many other things to do. You have to go to class and you have to go to the gym, and then you have community service and everything. And so in elite, like the only thing you have is gymnastics, and then you're homeschooled, and so you don't have many friends. Like it's just a completely different side. Like if you could think about the complete opposite of college, that's what it was. And so when you come to college, it's like a huge change for like anybody who like did elite and like is homeschooled, because there's so many of us on the team here that were homeschooled and did elite gymnastics, and like it was hard adjusting, but like it was such a nice adjustment.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, there's a lot of, LSU, obviously, you won the national title last year. So there's a lot of talent on that team, and a lot came from elite. So, I think anyone who comes into college has to adjust, but not only did you have to adjust, but to a new way of your sport, but also like making friends. Um, but it's nice that there were other people on the team who kind of got it. They kind of
Hmm.
understood. It might be harder on the outside of, when you're not in the gym, but being in the gym, it's comfortable. You're like, you get it. You're looking at someone, you're like, you get it. I can tell you get it, and I get it, and now we bond.
Right.
Um, were you homeschooled all through high school too?
Yeah, I was homeschooled since third grade, so
Wow.
basically my
Nice.
whole life.
Yeah. And have you found that now, so now you're a sophomore, have you adjusted to college? Is it fun like it looks?
No, it is. I love it here. Honestly, like I completely changed. Like I used to be really shy, like very to myself, and like the second I came, like the first month I came to college, like I was a completely different person. Like in the building I live in definitely helped because we live with like all student athletes, and so we all met each other. And like my roommates were also homeschooled, so like if anybody was gonna talk, it was gonna be me. And so like I would just like run my mouth, and like it completely changed, and like became like a little bit outgoing. And so it definitely like changes you.
In a good way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have an incredible personality. People got to know that. But the only person you really had to talk to when you were homeschooled is, your coaches, your teammates, and then your parents, right? And your
Yeah.
siblings. So, um, why LSU? It obviously has, especially now, it has an incredible reputation. The talent is insane. I grew up and I always wanted to be a Florida gymnast. I swore I was going to be a Florida gymnast, and I got to level 10. So I never went elite. And then they started, having, they started recruiting really, really, really good gymnasts from, abroad and Canada and all these places. And I realized it was a pipe dream. But why LSU of all places?
I mean, it was my dream school, and I feel like I didn't realize it until I actually committed. But it was just the coaches and then the team. Whenever I first started getting recruited, it was just like, oh my gosh, like I love it. And then I visited LSU for a national team camp in 2018. And so when I came here, I was like, oh my gosh, mom, like I love it here. And then she was like, yeah, but I don't think you're going to go to college. And I was like, I know, but still, because at first, like I planned on not going to college because there wasn't an NIL and everything. And so it's just like it was my dream school, but it was never going to happen almost. And so
Hmm.
when the rules changed and I finally was getting recruited, like I committed like right away, and I was just so excited. Like, and then like it's just like the culture here is so different than anywhere else, and like everyone loves each other. Like it's the South. Like what can you not love about the South?
Oh, absolutely. SEC football, warm weather. You check all the boxes,
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah, I so badly wish we had a gymnastics team here. The closest is Clemson, and that's our rival. So I just sit in front of the TV and watch it all. But that's awesome. Now, did the current coach? recruit you, or was it Dee Dee that recruited you?
No, it was Jay.
It was
Yeah,
Jay.
the
And
current
how
coaches.
how is the coaching staff? He looks very, I don't even know the word. He just looks like he cares a lot about you guys, kind of on and off the mat.
No, he definitely does. He's almost like a dad to all of us. Like, he
Hmm.
has kids of his own, so I kind of feel like he brings it into the gym, and like he treats us all with like so much respect and also like care and love, and like you can feel it every day when you walk inside, and he just asks you how you are doing, and like he
Hmm.
doesn't really care about the gymnastics as long like as you are okay as a person first. And then all the other coaches, like, they're also so amazing. Like, you just go into the gym and like they're so happy and like upbeat, and they just want the best for you all the time, and like
Yeah.
every single day you walk in, and like like what they want for you, and they almost care for you as much as you do for yourself.
Oh, I love that. I think that there is, I mean, people who aren't in gymnastics, there's a lot of things that come out about, coaches not necessarily caring about their gymnasts. And, it happens. But to hear that a coach at such a renowned school cares about athletes as individuals, I think is incredible, especially in the world of NIL and, money flying everywhere. It helps to keep y'all grounded. How do you find balancing kind of the social media? Like, LSU is definitely in the limelight, not only for their talent on the mat, but also the social media aspect. You have multiple people on the team, including yourself, who have large social media backgrounds. How do you kind of balance that between, having the sport that you love and wanting to participate for your team, but also making sure that you promote the sport, and people kind of coming to your meets?
For me, I feel like it took me a while. Like, I've been building my platform for a long time, and so trying to learn how to balance it is kind of hard just because there is haters and everything. And so like trying to do that but also like bring so much other support to the sport, it's kind of hard. But like once you figure it out, it's like really like almost like beautiful. It sounds
Hmm.
like
It
silly, but
is, yeah.
it's beautiful to like finally like realize you have a platform to speak up for yourself and to speak up for other people. Like, because there's a lot of like bad things in gymnastics too, and like bad things in the
Mhm.
world, and so you use your platform to raise like awareness for all the good things, and like you just realize like how much you actually are bringing to other people. And so it's honestly like special just to have my platform, but the balance is definitely difficult to figure out for yourself. But once you figure it out, it's really, you get the hang of it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it is hard to balance, and I hate that there's hate out there.
Right.
But your platform is beautiful. I really have to say. I think that you use it so well. And you guys just had advocacy night. What did you advocate for? I can't remember. What was your kind of cause?
I advocated for foster care and epilepsy.
Very nice. I love that. Are those kind of are those causes that you regularly advocate for, like through your platform?
Yes, I always advocate for the system and like the foster care system just because those kids go through so much. And so and it's what I want to do with my job in the future is work with foster kids and in the system and social work and everything. And so just helping people like realize like what else is going on in the world because it's not a big topic. And so hopefully like I can make it bigger and do my best to make it bigger so people will join in.
Yes, I love that. Now, is social work your major
I
or
my major
psychology?
My major's interdisciplinary studies, but I have four minors,
Okay.
so social work is one of my minors.
Dang. You went fully into college.
Yeah,
You said I go from homeschool, but now I'm going to study everything because I want to just put my hand in everything. It's great.
yeah, all gas.
Um, oh yeah, in college, I mean, you learn so much in college. Um, I personally love it. I think that in high school you kind of just learn to take a test. There's a lot of classes in college where it's like you learn and I need to watch you put it into action. You're
Hmm.
you're going to go to a school and work with kids or
Yeah,
something, right? Have you always wanted to do that, or is that um, kind of something that you discovered?
I've always wanted to work with kids in a way, but I didn't know in like which way. So like I was thinking like a massage therapist or like a sports like psychologist. But once like I started like thinking about college, I was like, okay, like I need to figure something out. And so
Yeah.
I kind of like figured out what I wanted to do. after like a whole bunch of research. And so once I figured it out, and like then I started learning about it in school, and so I was just like, okay, like this is what I want to do, like this is my topic.
I love that. We need more people like that out there. And it does take quite a bit. You have all these things that you know you want to work with kids, you know you want to help people, but it's like, well, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't, I don't necessarily, do I want to work in my sport?
Right.
It's good to kind of balance and have something outside of your sport, like you said. I mean, unfortunately, it's not one of those things that goes on through the 30s and 40s, right? You kind of end gymnastics in your mid 20s, and I think it's really refreshing to hear that you have such strong, passionate goals besides gymnastics, and so you can put your energy towards something else. And right now, you're just living your dream at LSU. I think that's you're just doing your sport. I think it's great. Talk to me a little bit about your injury. First of all, I salute you and don't know how you. First of all, I mean, like you recovered so fast and so beautifully and with a full-on smile on your face. And that is the hardest thing to do. When you know that there's an injury that is so bad that you can't compete, and you know right away. It's one of those injuries you just know right away. And I mean, and you're back. This season you look beautiful, and it hasn't even been, I mean, it's a long recovery, but I mean, it didn't feel very long from watching you. So can you walk us a little bit through a little bit of that whole process? Obviously, it's a sore subject because it was an injury, right? But you're back. You're better than ever. Yeah. So just walk us a little through that whole process.
Oh my gosh. So it looked really short, but for me, it felt so long. It was so many days. So I tore it at the end of May, and I got my surgery 3 days later. And so it was really fast. So thankful for my trainers for that one. But you can't like do rehab for the first 8 weeks because it's in a hard cast. Like you can't walk, like you can't move it, like you're trying to do anything like not to re-tear it again. And so they're heavy on like don't re-tear it, like don't do anything early because it will re-tear. Like it's a high possibility for the first 5 months. And so once I got back to school in August, I started rehab finally, and I had my mind set on competing. Like I was not competing this year because I competed my freshman year, and then I wanted to go to the Olympics, and I was trying for the Olympics, and then it teared. And then I was like, okay, like I cannot miss a season. Like I will go down in a deep dark hole. And so during my rehab, like I would stay in the facility for like 3 hours, just every single day. Like I think I was in there 4 days a week, and I would be in there for 3 hours straight, like trying to get better. And so it paid off because
Yeah,
like
it
when you
did.
first come back, like you have to relearn how to walk because like it's unnormal, like not normal. And so I had like a limp, and I was like, okay, I can't walk with a limp, like this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so you also like have to remember like you have to walk to class, and like you have to like walk into your dorm, and there's like other college students, and I'm the type of person to get embarrassed really easy. It's like, okay, I told my physical therapist, I was like, okay, I don't want this limp. And so like after a couple weeks it was gone. And so it's just like so many hours and hard work and recovery and treatment like that I had to go through to get to compete this year, but it was so worth it, honestly. And my physical therapist, he was the best ever, and like he's the one who also like helped me get back this fast.
That's awesome. How does it feel now?
It feels good, yeah.
Good. Well, it sounds like you're very intentional with your recovery, right? Like you have a goal and you set your mind to it. I am competing in this 2025 season. I'm doing it. And if that means that I have to be in the facility 3 hours a day, done. Easy. Like, well, not easy, but being there is easy. The
Right.
work that you had to put in was not. Um, yeah, Achilles are weird, right? It's not a bone. It's not something that heals and it's done. It's one of those things that you don't really pay attention to until it goes.
Until it tears,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's so much down there to affect it, right?
Mhm.
It can be affected by your shins. It can be everything down there just affects it. I'm sure you've learned a lot about your body as well as injuries and recovery and the importance of it through all of this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, coming back this season, how has that felt? Do you have a new mindset? Or is it very similar to your freshman year where you're just like, I'm living my life and I love it?
I feel like now that we're to February, it's definitely the same mindset my freshman year. It's just like be
Mm-hmm.
happy, like every meet, like you never know what can happen. So literally just live your best life. And so
Yeah.
I feel like coming in January, I was just like, I feel like I put too much pressure on myself because I wanted to be back. And so it's just like, okay, you have to be perfect again. And
Right.
like with a brand new, like literal, like Achilles in my leg, like you can't
Mm-hmm.
be perfect. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it was hard because I was focusing on this while trying to do gymnastics. And so it was just like kind of putting the two together and figuring out all of January. And so once we finally got to the end of January, I kind of figured it out. It's just like, okay, just like be happy. And so my last
Yeah.
two meets were definitely better than the beginning of the season because like I realized what I needed.
Yes, absolutely. Um, what is it like to have that packed arena? What is that like when you guys stick your landing? I mean, I've been to gymnastics meets, right? But being the person that they're cheering for, you stick that bar dismount and the crowd erupts and you've gotten a perfect score. Like, what does that feel like?
It is insane, honestly, especially in the PMAC. Like the PMAC is no place like other. Like honestly, they are so crazy. Like the fans here are so insane. It's literally like you're in Death Valley, like in the football stadium, and you're competing a beam routine. Like that's how loud
Yeah.
it feels in there. And so when like you land a dismount and you just hear the band immediately go off, and like then the crowd just like stands up. It's so insane. And like the adrenaline rush that you get is crazy, but you have to lock in right after because like you're in a circle. And so
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like I like honestly like want to describe it like as a football game getting it like your
Yeah.
favorite team getting a touchdown. That's what
That's
it feels like.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I would have like an out of body experience. Like, this is not happening right now. I can't believe I just did that. Yeah.
No, every me
That's,
is like an out of body experience and like we just like change into the craziest people ever and then after the next day we wake up in the morning like, oh my gosh, we like feel like
I have,
zombies.
yeah, I have no energy. I have no voice
Hmm.
from screaming. Um, do you enjoy that environment? Because for those that don't know, the elite is not as much of a team environment. It's very quiet. It's very individual. You get up on the beam and you can hear a pin drop.
Yes.
Um, I mean, you don't have to pick one or the other, but that transition itself is really difficult. Do you feel that is one easier to compete in? Is obviously we know which one is more fun. Um, what's the difference in performance? Do you feel a little less stressed when you know you have a team backing you? Um, yeah.
It's weird almost like in elite, like you're up there and you're doing it for yourself and like it's almost like the only thing that matters is you. But
Hmm.
in college and like it's so quiet, like you don't realize like how quiet it is. But in college, like when you go and you salute and like the whole team's right there behind you and like you're doing it for them, like it's not for yourself anymore, like it's all for them. And then
Hmm.
the crowd around you is like screaming for you, like it's just like completely different, but almost the same because when you get on the beam, you can only hear like the come on, like in your name. Like you only hear
Hmm.
your name and it's just like people cheering for you and you only. And so I would say I like college better just because like you hear the support behind you. And so it
Hmm.
honestly like pushes you through the routine because you know people have your back and like no matter what happens, like if you fall or whatever, like they're still gonna have your back and they're still gonna stand up and clap for you. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely weird and definitely a big change, I would say, just because in elite, like you're up there, and if you fall, you just hear oh, and then you get back up, and then you finish, and it's just like a couple claps, and then you walk off the podium, and it's just like okay,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
like yeah,
It's it's a lot more stressful for sure. Yeah, I never went elite. I would have been the elite that cheered for everybody. But I think it's cool now that people cheer for you when you go, and but they're also like you're representing a team, right? It's kind of like a smaller version of the Olympics. The LSU is your
yes,
USA, right? They're which I think is really cool. Would you do it all again? Would you go through elite homeschooling, trying for the Olympics, LSU? Like if you had to do it all over again, would you do anything differently?
I think about this a lot, but I think I would just let it all be the same and do it all over again because
Hmm.
there was some terrible times, but like it brought me to where I am today and it made me the person I am today. So I don't think I
Yeah.
would change anything.
No. Yeah. Are you going to try for the Olympics again? Or are we sticking with LSU college?
I mean, that is like a constant thought in my mind. I still haven't figured it out quite yet, but it's definitely not out of the picture.
I love that. I think you could do it. Easy, easy.
Thanks.
I think you could do it. Um, so besides gymnastics, are you part of any clubs? Do you talked a little about community service. What is kind of the how do you keep yourself busy? Not that you're never not in the gym, um, but what other opportunities have you kind of sought out in college?
Well, being on the gymnastics team, we do so much community service because you like earn points for your team. And so we're usually like at the top of the team list for community service. So we're constantly doing community service. Oh my gosh, what else do we do? We have so many meetings for like so many things. And then I'm like working on this thing with Title IX. So hopefully like that'll all work out. So
I love that National Girl and Women in Sports Day. Um, oh, that's great. Now, do you feel from an athlete perspective that NIL has benefited you? Do you think that it benefits collegiate athletes more than it hurts them?
I would say yes, definitely benefits them just because like at the end of the day we are still college students like eating ramen like in our rooms and
Yes.
stuff. Just having like an extra like source to help you out
Mhm.
like in college is so big for athletes and all college students because even if you are just like a college student like you can still make money just by like emailing a brand and getting that
Yeah.
deal. So I feel like it helps so many people out just because like we don't want to be eating ramen, but like we have to at this point.
Yeah.
So it definitely benefits us in so many ways.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I think everyone should recognize that college students, collegiate athletes still eat ramen. Just notice
Yes.
that. They're not going out and gourmet. No. That's I think to put it in perspective, because you're in the gym all the time, you can't get a part-time job, right? So that money is almost what you would have if you had that time.
Yes.
Plus it helps you promote your brand, like you said. Like you can reach out and this is how you can help grow the advocacy that you have on your platform, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Um, what is one thing that you wish more people knew about either gymnastics, you, or any sort of misconceptions about collegiate athletes?
Okay, for gymnastics, come like for the other athletes that don't know, it actually is so hard. Like I feel like athletes try so hard to compare our sports, but like like gymnastics is extremely hard and like don't
Yes.
say it until you try it because oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then
Right. I mean, like the whole point is to make it look easy, right? Like
yeah,
you watch football, it looks like it hurts.
yeah,
Gymnastics is supposed to look easy, but
yes.
it's not.
Mm-mm. And it hurts.
And it hurts bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're like, oh, she landed a little short on the floor, and I'm looking at her ankles, like, oh my god, I know that feeling. Like you
yeah,
can't feel your legs. Yeah,
exactly. And then for all of us athletes, I feel like for other people to know, like we are human beings too. Like
hmm,
as much as like we do our sport and we're good at it, like we are also like humans with
yes,
feelings and like personalities too. Like and it's
yeah.
just like that.
I actually love that you said that so much. Um, I think that that is a common misconception. Something that I like that you mentioned sports psychologists because that's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I think that's partly why I do this podcast is to understand people besides their sport, like how they
Mhm.
feel about their sport, but also like do they play an instrument? Do they volunteer
Right.
somewhere, right? Like you want to be in social work. I think that's fascinating and it says a lot about who you are.
Hmm.
Um, and I really do think that money aside and business aside, NIL aside, like athletes need to be able to go into the world and be a productive human being.
Exactly.
So I love that. I love that. Thank you for shedding some light on that. But anything else you'd like to add before we kind of wrap up? I usually do like 3 questions at the end that are just kind of fun, like favorite color type of thing.
We can do that because I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Okay, so 3 things. Okay, the first thing is, what is a staple that we would find in your refrigerator?
Ooh, Celsius.
Ooh, energy, energy, energy.
Yes,
Um, Now do you drink coffee?
I do drink coffee.
What's your go-to coffee order?
Okay, my favorite is Dutch Bros, but we don't have one here yet. So it's a Golden Eagle, but we have a 7 brew here, so it's like caramel, vanilla, and creme brulee
Oh, girl, I need
with
some of that.
and it's
I
like
need some of
blended
that.
coffee. Yeah.
Does it have like a caramel drizzle on it too, like on the
Yes,
top?
it's so good.
Oh, done. New coffee order. I'm a big vanilla person, but caramel is a close second.
Mhm.
Um, and then the last question is, if you could travel anywhere in the world, and I know you've traveled a lot of places, where would you go?
I would say, okay, I always wanted to go to Egypt,
Ooh.
and then like I don't know, like some sort of beach, like island.
Oh yeah, I need that tan.
Yeah.
Need the sun, the rays. It was just really warm in LSU,
Unfortunately,
and
it's
then it.
still warm. It's freezing. I mean, it's so hot. It was freezing a couple weeks ago, though.
I know y'all got like inches and inches of snow.
I know,
What
crazy.
is this? It's crazy. Well, Connor, I so appreciate you coming on and just bringing your light onto this podcast. I could feel it, and I'm so happy that we got to talk to you. Good luck with your season. I cannot wait.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Luke, you missed an incredible interview. That podcast, I know her through mutual friends and through the sport of gymnastics, but she is an incredible human being. So you have to make sure that you watch it later when it gets posted.
I will definitely tune in and watch it.
Yes, you have to. You have to. It was really good. She's got a really good head on her shoulders, and she's incredibly talented, on and off the mat. I think it's incredible. Yeah, so you have to definitely go listen to it. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I do have a question. See if you know the answer to this, Luke. Who is the gymnast with the most 10-0s ever?
In college right now, or in
Ever.
college
Which just
ever?
happens to be somebody that you know the name of. Not know like
I don't know them personally.
no, but it's someone recently, like you've heard their name. It's not like someone from like the 1980s that you wouldn't know.
And this is in college?
Mm-hmm. Her name starts with a T.
Did you go to Florida?
Mm-hmm. How did you know? Come on, that's big. I basically gave you the answer.
See it. I can see her. I can see her face, but I can't get the name in my head.
Her first name starts with a T. Her last name starts with a T. I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
feed
give me
this
another
to you,
hint.
aren't I? Yeah. Trinity Thomas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's tied for the first one, like for the lead spot with 28 perfect tens.
Damn.
28 perfect tens. She's tied with someone named Jenny Hansen. But
28 perfect
and
tens.
Jamie Dancher.
It's
But
little
Trinity
insane.
Thomas is tied. Huh?
It's a little insane.
It's crazy. Yeah,
That's
absolutely insane.
That's pretty crazy.
And Trinity's gotten one on every single event. I think that's even cooler. That you didn't just get 28 on floor, right? Or 28 on vault.
Vault, yeah.
Yeah. But the more you know.
Yeah, the more you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For all the listeners, I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. We had an incredible guest, and we're very thankful that she had the time to come on. And we will see you next time when the Game Changers podcast returns.